Are you there?
Rahubat.
Rahubat. So we just waiting for the sisters to enter the room. I just spoke with Taya and Timbia. So we'll just give them a few more minutes.
Are you?
Go ahead and just keep the seat warmed up. So Timby is in the building.
Rahubat.
Rahubat. I just spoke with Miss Ann to get her on board. You know, Dora's gonna be a little bit later. So just give everybody enough time to get in.
Sounds good.
So I did a lot of the questions. I also got the sister Taya's take on the things that she wanted to talk about as well, which were good questions or good topics. So we'll be able to we already have 12 people online. So we need to definitely jump right to it. We're just gonna keep the seat heated while they're watching.
Right.
I spoke with your mother. She said give her a minute to put something on.
Yeah, she's actually calling me. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Probably can't get in.
Okay, and as well, we would like everybody to have their cameras on. People need to see who they're actually dialoguing with. If y'all sisters don't mind, so we can make this a real good a real good dialogue today. We're gonna have fun with it. I don't want y'all to feel like y'all under no pressure, but when the goddess is speaking, listen.
We under some pressure now.
You under some pressure? It's okay. Let me tell you something. The sisters, let me tell you something. The sisters know that they have a platform where the voice of women are being heard, and we need to make sure that we project that thoroughly. You feel me? So we ain't gonna be in no discomfort.
Tayyub.
Yeah, we ain't in no discomfort. We need cameras actually on.
Okay, so let me try to get my mom in real quick. I will be right back. Yeah, because it might hang me up if I try to call her.
Yeah.
Okay.
You okay, Jazzy?
Yeah. Just like waiting for the dialogue to take off, you know. What exactly did you want to focus on more?
I'm going to pretty much go down the list of questions that dealing with the topics that we chose to speak to the brothers and sisters about today. So it's going to be pretty random, just to build up y'all comfort and momentum.
Okay. And it'll definitely help seeing each other, you know,
Right.
less interruption.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'll just state excited about the group and the opportunity to be a part of it. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. this platform, you all will have a voice. We're gonna make sure that y'all have a voice, and we got to project that to the other sisters that are just as powerful with knowledge and intelligence and skill sets that they don't really have a voice on other platforms. We really need to hear what the sisters have to say.
Yeah, I agree with that totally, because we are the portal. Without us, the gateway is not properly open.
Yeah, it's like during my time of actually just propagating, I met a lot of powerful sisters. So I see Miss Ann and Umi Rhonda so far. Miss Ann, we kind of trying to get all the cameras on Miss Ann and Miss Rhonda so that we can project to the brothers and sisters that's listening, who they're talking to. I think that's very important as well. Not to say that you all are doing it, but not to hide behind the camera while we're actually projecting our message.
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting on Timia to get back in the group.
Second pausing.
Say that again.
And what did you just say?
I said what we're trying to do is get all the sisters to turn their cameras on so that we can project our to the audience.
Okay.
Miss Rhonda, turn you. Trying to get Miss. There you go. There you go. We need all the sisters actually seen so that people know who they're dealing with. Like, we're gonna get serious like we was in the meeting earlier, and even more in depth. I'm gonna do the line of questioning for you all so I can stimulate y'all brain power, so we can go.
All right.
Just give it a couple more minutes for to get back in the chat. Miss Rhonda, we need you to turn your camera on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. We just can't see you. We want to be able to see you.
Okay, it says start video and okay, it say unable to access camera. Please allow. Okay.
You may have to turn it around. It may be facing backwards, like the back camera instead of the front.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I hear you.
Okay, but oh man. Hold on
It's
now.
okay, because we all learning.
But you know what? I usually don't have to go through that. I'll just hit camera and it'll come, it'll have me on.
Yeah.
All right, let me.
You may
Okay,
have-
I
You
see.
may have to turn the camera on your phone.
Oh, I'm on my tablet.
Well, you may have to turn. Yeah, you may have. It may be directing you to the settings so that you can turn your camera on in your settings. We're gonna give the sister Taya a few more minutes. I just spoke with her. She said she was coming. So
Let me see. Can I do better on my phone? She sent the link to my phone too. I like the tablet better, but let me see.
it does work a little bit better.
Yeah. Let me see. What can I? Oh, boy.
It's all right. Take your time.
I don't want to hold up the class, you feel me? But
Yeah,
we got to learn,
I don't know why they did us to this up to our generation. I really don't know why they did.
we live today with the divine feminine energy. This ain't no class. Y'all giving the class today. I'm gonna just be doing
Okay.
the questions to stimulate the mind.
That's important.
Hey, now you're gonna have to give a class on technology for us older folks now, because we need one day.
I got
That's a good point.
I got somebody for that. I got somebody for that. She's nice with
Okay.
it too.
All right, let's see. That's what I need a class on. Let me see. Yeah, okay.
You and me both.
Okay, you doing that? At least I can see you. You can't see me.
That's okay though. That's okay. I just learned all this like 2 days ago, so I'm still learning. It may look better, but it's really not. I'm still learning. It's all good.
Okay. Okay, please enter your name. All right. Okay. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. Now my phone freezing up. God almighty. It's been doing that lately.
There's some other sisters that logged on, but I don't see their camera either.
Let me see. That's Timbia's camera is on. My camera is the only one that's off because I want y'all to be projected more. And Miss Rhonda's the only sister whose camera is not off.
I'm trying to okay. This meeting is being live streamed. Got it. Okay. Okay, I got Wi-Fi or cellular data. LN. Okay, can y'all still hear me? All
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now at the bottom, you all walk me through it. I see join audio, so you can hear me.
Mm-hmm.
I see start video.
Start video.
Hit start video.
Okay. 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 All right. With using the app only this time. Okay, with using. Okay, can you see me now?
Mm-hmm.
You can?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see Timbia. I didn't see you because I was looking in the
Tim, you can see me?
Yeah.
No,
I
you can.
No, because you gotta hang up from your tablet. The audio is coming. So
hang up the tablet. Okay.
disconnect from your
All
tablet.
right. Okay. I hung up.
No, you didn't. Because you still on.
Yes, yes, I did. Oh no, I didn't. You're right.
Sister Hua, the sister Taya is in the building. So we can go ahead and get started. Just everybody, I'm not gonna turn my camera on because this is about y'all. All of the sisters, we need y'all camera on. Miss Rhonda, it seems like your camera is on. So Taya is the only. Am I pronouncing your name right, Taya?
Her audio is still connecting.
Can you hear us, Taya?
She won't be able to hear fully until her audio fully connects. It says she's still.
Okay. Yeah, this one's gonna be a good one now. I don't need nobody being nervous. We got the sisters in the building today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I see you.
Huh?
You said you're not.
You say that again, your phone broke up.
Oh, I was muted. You said you're not turning your camera on?
No, this is about y'all today, sis. This is about the divine feminines. I'm just gonna do the probing questions. That's all.
Mhm.
I see the sister Shantia. Can you hear? I'm sorry, Taya. You hear us? I see she turned her camera on. But I can't hear or see her.
I see her.
You see her?
Mm-hmm.
I can't. So I don't know. You know, I got this little light iPhone 11. I ain't all fancy.
I can't see nobody but Timmy.
I can.
Yeah, I can only see Timbia.
I saw Tim here, but I can't see Miss Rhonda. I can't see Taya. Miss Ann, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
I can't see Miss
Yeah,
Annie.
I'm here.
Okay, so what y'all have to do, if you're on your phone or your tablet, either or, swipe over. You should be able to swipe over. You'll see everybody that's in here.
How do I do that?
Oh, it worked.
Yeah, once you swipe, it'll let you see the chat. It'll let you see all the panelists who's in here. You can
Right.
see everything.
Okay.
Okay.
Got
I
it.
can only see you. I can only see
Okay, I
one
did that.
person.
Yeah, that's because I'm talking, but whoever talks, the person's picture is gonna pop up. But if you want to see everybody at once, you just keep swiping over all the way to the last slide, and then you should see everybody.
Yeah, I see it. So I see.
Mhm.
Is that how you pronounce your
Hey,
name?
everybody, Rahu bad. Hey, Miss Ann. Hey, sweetheart.
Can you see me?
Jazzy.
Rhonda, can you see me, Rhonda?
Yes, I can. And,
I
and
can't see you. I can see your name, but I cannot see you.
you can't see my pretty face, Miss Ann.
I can only see your outline of some shadow.
Okay.
But okay. Oh yes, I can see you now.
And
How are
the young
you?
lady I was speaking to earlier, what's your name, sweetheart?
Mm.
The young lady with the eyeglasses on that I was speaking to.
Jazzy.
That's Jazzy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's jump right to it. All right.
Okay.
So today, we're going to talk about all the subjects that you all felt was important to project, to be able to convey the message of different subject matters to people, about our group, about the medical field, and about, the divine feminine energy, and so on and so forth. So the first question that I have will be for Ms. Rhonda. Is with the subject matter you wanted to speak about, us learning how to basically be able to learn the medical information to be able to take care of ourselves and become our own doctors. Can you expound on that?
Well, first thing first, before I even get into that portion of it, first of all, you must learn the basic. When I got into medical school was in 1977. And if anybody can remember which this age group, I'm sure you can't, but you can ask your mom and your grandmama if they're still here on this planet. When you will walk into a hospital, they would take you through triage. And triage is where they take your vital signs, your blood pressure, your temp, your pulse, and all that. That gives them an indication of what's going on. That's the first thing that they do. Secondly, we're talking about in the 70s. All right. So secondly, they will ask you your symptoms, and they're going to ask you certain medical questions. They ask you, certain your background and all that. Really, it's paperwork after you remove from triage. Then you would talk to the doctor. All right. The doctor would make his diagnosis and he will cure you. Now let's deal with that word cure, C-U-R-E. All right. They would tell you your diagnosis and the treatment. Okay. So once you leave the hospital, you would leave with your medication and you would leave with paperwork stating what that diagnosis was, where it came from, and how it's going to be cured. They no longer do that. And what you're looking at now, when you go into a hospital right now, don't expect to be treated. If you have a terminal disease, even if it's something as simple as an earache, don't expect to be cured, and don't expect to have a lot of information on what caused your body to be in that type of state. And they will not answer questions. They're not going to voluntarily give you information. If you don't ask, they're not going to tell. That's the first thing. Don't expect to be cured. I mean, yeah, that's just it. Treat and cured is two different things. Am I making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions before I go on?
No, go ahead and continue. Take us there.
Well, since it's gonna be a part 2, then I will only just give you an introduction. I can't tell you when the medical industry, I believe in the 80s, okay, when the medical industry decide to not treat you, and the reasons why. One of the reasons is genocide. That's a way that you can eliminate people off the planet, because everybody at some point, if they're not really healthy and know how to treat their own body and catch things when your body be at this ease, if you don't catch it in time, then you have to go to the hospital. If you don't have the information or the knowledge as to how the body works, first of all, you have to do your own research. And I suggest one of the tools is when you first start having symptoms, whether it be you or your children or any other family member, write down the symptoms first. Okay, I'm having a headache. So it could be simple. Keep it simple. I believe in keeping everything simple. You go on Google, because you can find anything that you want to find out right now. What causes headaches? You know what I'm saying? Something simple as that. You know, what location are you having pain? You write down the information. Okay. So when you go into a hospital, you got your pad and your pencil ready. Make sure that doctor, when he comes in, if they have to do a brain scan, if you telling them that you don't had headaches for 2 or 3 months and they don't seem to go away, make sure you have enough information where headaches stem from, what type of headache. That way, when you go and talk to that doctor and he decides to do a CAT scan, you will have the tools that you need already written down to ask him the appropriate questions. Because see, if you don't, even though you're not a doctor or you're not a nurse, at least you would let him know and let the medical field know, the nurses included, that, hey, I know a little something. See, because what you don't know can harm you. So you wanna know as much, you want to gather as much information as you can before you even go to the hospital. That's what any and everything that's on this planet, because they are trained to give you no information if you don't ask. If you don't have if you don't think with a critical mind, it could cost you your life. And that's what's going on now. Now, I want to say this, and then I'm gonna leave. I wait for the next question. If you don't do your own research, if you don't know how, you get with somebody that do, because it depends on your life. Now, when the baby is born, they start working on that baby right then and there. Soon as the baby comes out the mother's womb, they're already attacking that baby medically. Now I'm gonna tell you this. It might sound scary, but it's the truth. And we're gonna have to deal with it. The moment the woman, that baby comes out the mother's womb, they wipe the baby off. Where did they go? They go somewhere. Remember, they take the baby somewhere. Then they bring the baby back. Am I correct, Timia?
Yeah.
Timia, can you hear me?
Her
I
mic
can't.
is off. Her mic is off.
Jazzy,
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am, you are 100%. Yes. And that is a key point. That's very
That is
critical.
the key point. When I was having kids, let me tell you, they cut that umbilical cord, the nurse is right there, they clean that baby up, and that baby is right there on your shoulder. My generation, Miss Ann, I know you was in a different country, but I'm sure they did it the same way. Now, they cut the umbilical cord.
Yes, but what
that
can
baby,
you?
they take that
Yeah.
baby, what, 5 or 10 minutes, they come back. So what do they do with that baby?
What do they do? So you tell me.
They microchip.
Huh?
They insert microchips. They started doing this in 1983.
Since 1983.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that in the UK as well?
I'm not sure, but I'm sure it's going on now. If they're not having babies naturally at home and they're because all of them are on the same system. See,
Critical.
people get the misconception because you live in other countries that these things are not going on. This is a global thing going on.
It's a global thing.
Yeah. What you see is nothing but their matrix. They act like they're not together, like the Democrats and the Republicans. You know, you got one side, they claim they for this, and the other side, but they all together. They all together. And back in my day, it was called the opinion job. I'm gonna make this person think this way, but really it's gonna be really it's gonna be this way. You know what I'm saying? That's in that's in their book, 48 Laws of Power.
Okay, so my next question is for the sister Taya. Being as though I've spoken to her, and she also has a background in the medical field. Can you explain to us the things that you feel that we should know to be able to protect ourselves from the mishaps of the medical field and be able to make sure that, you know, we have the proper knowledge to be able to basically take care of ourselves instead of relying on these people in the medical field? This is for Taya. Can you turn her mic on, Jazzy? Your mic is off, Jazzy.
Rahubat, I'm processing your question. I wasn't prepared. I'm processing your question, but for the most part, you just gotta have knowledge of your body system. You know, you have to take the time out to learn your body. As the sister, what is her name? Rhonda Williams was saying, have like some background and kind of keep things simple and to really be in tune with your body. So that when you do go into the hospitals and you feel like you need because if you're working in a job that's a part of society, most of them need physicals. You need to go to the doctor for a physical. You need to go to the doctor for a TB test. And you got to have some type of knowledge. Like, for instance, with the tuberculosis test, you have an option of getting the implant or having your blood drawn. So you don't have to get tuberculosis, a dead version of the tuberculosis implanted under your skin. You can actually get your blood drawn. They do want to know about your immunization, certain jobs, want to know about if you are vaccinated. So when you go into like the medical field, I don't know, like I really, I haven't had time to really like think about this question as far as protecting yourself. You know, we already know that the pharmaceutical companies make money off of the chemicals and that they put into the drugs. And we do know that we have the power of healing ourselves with herbal medicine. And but a lot of people are not knowledgeable in that area, you know? So it's about like educating yourself. You got to start off with educating yourself and knowing that these drugs that they use can harm you. And as the sister was saying, they do not heal you. The medical industry is not in the business of healing. Otherwise, we won't go back to them, you know? So they treat the signs and they treat the symptoms. So they don't know what the underlying cause of the signs and symptoms are. So like if you go to the hospital for I'm not going to use high blood pressure because that's like a really sensitive topic. Like, you know, I'm not going to use that one. I'm still like stuck in between when it comes to the medicine and using natural forms to lower your blood pressure. But there are situations where you'll go to the hospital and instead of them healing you, like for instance, we can go into like women's topic, like bacterial vaginosis. They will prescribe you a medication for your signs and symptoms, but it doesn't really trigger where the BV is coming from, right? So we need to clean our wounds, we need to clean our yonis, we need to do some yoni steaming, we need to change our diet. They don't tell you to change your diet. They don't tell you about these natural ways of healing yourself. They automatically give you medication. So one of the ways you can protect yourself is knowing that when you do go to the doctor to get a diagnosis, once you get that diagnosis, now they're going to treat your signs and symptoms instead of healing the disease, the actual disease. That's one of the most prevalent things that I have noticed in the nursing and in the medical industry, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Basically having the knowledge and knowing and taking the time out
Can
to
I
do
jump
some
in?
research.
Okay, I want to say this. Here's the trickery of it. Don't think that when you walk in the hospital and they give you a diagnosis that they don't have a cure. Even healing is different from a cure. You know what I'm saying? So when they give you, hear me out, listen to this carefully. When they give you medication and they claim that some of them say, well, we don't know,
Your microphone cut out.
Your microphone cut out.
Miss Rhonda.
Okay, so hold on, Miss Rhonda. So while Miss Rhonda fixes her microphone, I want to ask one more question to the sister Taya. So where would we start in the, with the medical field as far as, I know we're saying educate ourselves, but could you go a little bit more in depth with that? Like, where would we start?
You start with your symptoms. You have to, you know what, we are lazy minded people, and I'm just putting it out there. We don't want to research. We don't want to tap into our own powers because we have been trained to depend on other people to do our own homework. we're past that stage right now. The first thing, you can keep it simple, because when you walk into a hospital, and especially if they send you to a specialist, all right, and he decides that no, we'll take something like high blood pressure. What the average person don't know, anytime you walk into a hospital, your blood pressure is going to automatically go up. Why? Because it's a scary place.
Mhm.
And the first thing they do is, I'm gonna tell you how they get you. The first thing they do, anybody that walk into a hospital, your blood pressure, 9 out of 10 chances is going to be a little high. Me, as an older person going into a hospital, my blood pressure is going to
Your phone started messing up again. We can't hear you.
I don't know. Okay.
We can hear you now, though.
Can you,
Yes, ma'am.
huh?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Okay. How can, okay, I'll start again with the blood pressure. Most people, when they go to the hospital, they're going to have a high blood pressure. That's the psychological effect of walking into a hospital, because you're going to automatically think the worst. Okay. So if they take my blood pressure, and my blood pressure, I've never had a history of high blood pressure. I'm just speaking hypothetically. Never had a history of high blood pressure. And they take my blood pressure and it's 160/90. That's a high blood pressure. All right. Now, when I get to see the doctor, you know, the first thing he's going to do is going to put me on blood pressure medicine just on that one visit. I could have had a trauma at home. You know what I'm saying? I could have had a stressful day at work. I could have had a stressful drive to the hospital. They're not gonna sit and analyze that. Your blood pressure is 160/90, and we're gonna put you on medication. That's where it starts. Now, to move it right along, you go to you take a physical. Don't trust a physical. Not 100%, because they're going to find something. You can feel on top of the world until they start working on your mind, because that's the first thing they're going to work on. My mother, for an example, and then I'm going to let somebody else talk. I'll just show you how they work. They start with the mind first. Wherever the mind goes, the body goes. Okay? So if you think you got high blood pressure, they already have planted that seed. It's just like planting a seed in the ground to make a flower grow. Oh, you're going to tell 10 people, I got high blood pressure. They're going to tell 10 more. You know what I'm saying? Automatically, you done put yourself into that mode. You have worried yourself. You have convinced yourself, because the doctor said you have high blood pressure, and you're most likely to have a stroke. You see what I'm saying? That's how it goes. When you take a physical, they're going to find something in that physical to send you to another specialist. That specialist is going to see something that's going to send you to another specialist. They attack the major organs of the body. They start at the age of 55, a long time ago. Now it's when you're a child, they start with your babies. That's why you got so many infants are dying.
Yeah. Can I just
So you have to do
say
your
this,
homework.
Wanda? You know, from a long time, they've targeted Black people for high blood pressure. Why I'm saying this is that my mum and dad had high blood pressure, and they didn't know a lot about it then. and that it's sometimes caused by stress, and that sometimes it will go away as my cousin in St. Vincent, she was monitored and she kept going back and it ended up going down. Now, they've put this label on Black people for high blood pressure to tag them to find out how they can best make their money. And that was one of them, because I had high blood pressure myself a few years ago, several years ago. And if I didn't have a Nigerian doctor who said to me, because of your age, I'm just going to monitor you. He monitored me I kept going back for about 6 weeks to, I think, 2 months. And in the end, it lowered. Now, if I'd gone to another doctor, they would have put me straight away on there because it was pretty high. They would put me straight away on high blood pressure tablet. As it is, I decided if I had any slight high blood pressure in the future, I knew what to do. I'd just drink my herbal tea. And there's certain herbs that would lower it. You don't need to go to them for the high blood pressure. Let them keep giving you pill for the rest of your life. There's things that you can do for yourself. And I've had episodes since then of it going slightly high, but it's not something that tomorrow or in a few days don't go back to normal. So I know it's all a big it's a bit how can I say, it's their way of targeting us, because after that they done stress us out. They know what's going to happen,
Okay.
Right.
So now my question is for Timbia. So I want you to actually give us an in-depth understanding of the benefits of, one, having the divine feminine energy working on our behalf. We'll start there, and then I have another question after you answer that. What is the benefits of having the divine feminine energy working to help us progressively move forward?
Oh, couldn't mute myself. I'm sorry. Repeat again for me now.
I said the first question I had for you was, what is the benefits of having the divine feminine energy work to help us progressively move forward?
1 second. I'm sorry, my daughter's watching TV. So, you said, what is the benefit?
The benefit.
Okay, let me go downstairs. The TV is loud. No, Jordan, you can stay upstairs. Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. She was watching TV in my background. It's loud. Okay. So I will give my synopsis of it. I feel like we were given 2 gifts, and you guys can agree or disagree. One of those gifts is like women's tuition, right? Mother's tuition. Wait, Jody, give me a second. Mother's intuition, a woman's intuition, right? Speaking of the feminine divine energy, going back to that, it's just like getting in tune with your divinity. And that's why I just gave those 2 examples. So when you think about a woman's intuition, not even just saying it far as like on the physical realm, but to separate us from man and woman. If, let's just say, you feel something is right, even let's just say if it's in a relationship, I'm going to give that as an example. You feel something is not right, not even just with that person, period, just going overstanding as far as like the spiritual realm as well, right? So let's talk about that in the spiritual realm. So if you are, and I'm going to give my example from my experience. So just like we have right overstanding, right? And that's another thing that ties into the divinity of the feminine energy. Right overstanding versus someone who does not have the right overstanding. So tying in that into So let's just say if you are with this person and it doesn't even have to be anything that they did as an act. Within you, within that divine energy, you already know that something is off, right? That's just a gift that we have. And I feel like us going back into Jordan, it's not down here. Us tapping back into our divine energy. I feel like that is something that we all should tap back into, because it plays a huge role in the physical realm and the spiritual realm. And that goes back to me saying it's like the mother's intuition as well. I don't know who's all in the live, but us as mothers, like who everybody's in here now, let's as mothers, like we know when something is wrong with our kids. They ain't even got to do nothing. They come back to you, whatever happens, something is wrong without them saying anything. You can just feel it. And I feel like that is the origin of the divine, the divinity within the feminine. So that is like me and my mom, we have this conversation all the time. She always says like, the woman should be the leader of the household. That we talk about that all the time. And it's not necessarily saying, I'm trying to see how can I word it without offending you, Naya, and the men that's in the live. It's not necessarily saying that we are better than you guys. It just goes back to that divinity that's within it. Y'all get what I'm saying? Like, it's not nothing towards you guys. It's just power that you have, So you think about like a woman who she knows who she is, and you say she's a bad sister. It has nothing to do with the looks. It has nothing to do with anything in this physical realm. It has something to do with the energy and the power that we hold. Once you know who she is, once you know who the hell she is, it's up from there. And I just feel like that's something that every woman should tap into, should want to tap into, that needs to tap into, so you can get into that right overstanding, so you can know who you are, But yeah, we just, like I said, it's nothing towards you guys, Naya. You have the knowledge. Nothing towards you guys, but it's just the energy that we possess. It's just the power that we have.
Okay, with that being said,
Uh-oh.
and trust me, I'm not offended. I mean, I like the divine feminine energy. So I'm definitely not offended. But with that being said, how does that, in your opinion or your perspective, help the men become better divine masculine beings?
That's a good question. Okay, so I would say it comes to, like my mom said, leading the household. Since we have their energy, it comes with the woman being able to lead and the man taking heed. So like let me see, how can I word it? This day and age, it's kind of hard to answer that question, because most men look at it as being submitting to a woman. They feel like they're less than, So I'm trying to see how I can put it, because like I said, how it is now is hard to explain, because I feel like it's needed, but how can we help the man feel more masculine? I don't know. I can't put it into terms. It's just like it's just the intuition that we have. I can't really explain it. It's just in us. If it's in you, it's in you. But I don't know, question. Now you got me stumped with that question. I can't really explain it without being offensive.
No, you're not going to be offensive. If it's someone that's offended, you can't worry about that. You just got to speak the facts. I mean, the facts are the facts. You can't worry. I'm not going to be offended, so don't spare my feelings. I'm pretty strong.
I don't know. That just goes back to the woman's intuition, right? It's just the power that we have. So if we say, let's just say, like in our culture, whatever, we have men here, like I feel like even, like amongst ourselves, Naya, how we talk or whatever, you get the input of the divine feminine energy or whatever. It's just us coming from the divinity that we possess, basically. But like I said, I feel like we lack that. So I can't necessarily, we lack the woman's opinion, basically. I can't necessarily give you an example of how I feel like that will help the masculinity of men. unless
Okay.
anybody I mean.
I didn't mean to cut you off, so I'll go here with it. And so for me, for example, I work really well with female partners, women. I don't like to call y'all females, but women partners, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm humble enough to know that there is a specific level of operation that only the women can guide in, because that's where that's their power, that's their position. Likewise, or in comparison and contrast, the same thing for men. So, with that being said, my question is, how do we bring, from your perspective, the divine masculine and the divine feminine in harmony so that we can work together? Because I see it as that we have too much gender war going on amongst so many other wars. And I think that it's kind of immature. And especially inside of the Nubian households, we have it at a great level. So from your perspective, how do we come together where it's like a team? If you do your part and I do my part, then we build a strong enough team where we move in a progressive format, if that makes sense.
Right. And I think that goes back to, like I said, I'm speaking from my generation, so that's the only place that I can actually come from. But I think that goes back to, like someone who doesn't even have the understanding. I think that goes back to teaching or showing examples of the divine feminine energy, because most men won't understand that. Most men don't even know where it is. I think that's where we should start. But I understand. I get what you're saying, but as I stated, I don't know how I can put it into play because of how my generation is. You're different. Your thought process is different because you have an understanding. But my generation, we are not like that. So I can't. I hear something in the background. What is it? I can't. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I don't know what is playing. Okay, there it is. Yeah. I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, like you stated, for far as the man doing their part and the woman doing their part, I feel like until we can teach about or reach those about the divine feminine energy, and that's when we'll be able to do that. But like I stated, coming from my generation, I can't necessarily even give you a valid point of how we can do that, because we lack that. We lack the respect. So that question, I can't give you a full, thorough answer. I honestly can't.
Okay, so this question right here is for Jazzy. What do you feel like, because I kind of see, especially within a lot of different groups, that the sisters do not converse enough with the other sisters. We talk about how the divine feminine energy is where we're supposed to be, but I through my personal experience and perspective, I see that the women are not even connected with each other. I find that to be kind of out of sync, so to speak. I'm trying not to be offensive. I find that to be kind of out of sync with the whole divine feminine energy thing, only because if the women don't come together as a whole, how will we ever get to the point where we actually erect a matriarchal society where women are the council and they erect the most qualified people? So with that being said, what is it in your opinion that stops the women from being able to connect with each other? Go ahead.
I would say mainly an ego thing. And even if you don't know it, right? And healing. Healing is everything. If you're not healed, you're not processing things on a level to where you're not being easily offended. You're able to deliberate in a manner that is healthy for everyone around you, including yourself, right? But you have to also put some people in front of you sometimes. You can't always be the lead all the time. That's not cohesive, right? You have to have deliberation. And also, once we heal, then we will be better able to maintain a healthy relationship with others because we have a healthy relationship with us. Basically, that's my answer.
Can I touch on that a little bit?
Okay,
In
go
our
ahead.
in this immediate situation, I just felt like it was a lack of alignment with time, as per se with the sisters that we are talking to right now. I think it's a little bit more personal on each person's behalf. I don't think it has anything to do with unity as far as us getting together, but we growing up didn't learn about getting together with other women. We were taught like separation, like the sister was just saying, our ego. We didn't have rites of passage. We didn't have elders in the community who can teach us this rites of passage in the ways that the power that we have as women together, you know, we're stronger together. We didn't have that. And then we don't really have that exposure. So when we do see women getting together for rites of passage, or like when they connect with each other and they go on trips to like Jamaica and different places, and they have prayer services together and they pray together and they do yoga together, it's very exciting to see. And it's such a warm feeling, and you don't know how you could connect. Often it's like kind of scary. For some women, it may be scary, like, how could I be? Deep down inside, they want to be a part of that. They want to grow with that, but I don't think they know how to go about doing it. So I think that maybe if we have more outlets where we can get together, because like back in the days, we had like villages, and we had, you know, like tribes where a group of women will get together and teach you how to be a woman from a little young girl. Like, you know, we were taught
Etiquette
these things.
classes.
Yeah, we were taught these things.
Yeah.
And in certain other places in New York that we still have, we may have gardens where there's people in the community who may get together and teach you how to plant and do like a lot of planting and just do like painting and faces and doing each other's hair and giving each other foot rubs and cleansing each other and talking to each other and just, I don't know, just teaching each other and helping each other to grow. I think that we need more of that in the community, and we need to express more of that on social media, because social media is a big outlet and it reaches everyone. And sometimes I have learned, when I first was on Facebook, I was a little scared because I was like off the grid for a while. So coming back to Facebook, I was like very aware of who I wanted to have on my Facebook page. So I sought out a certain community, but that came from me going through trials and tribulations and protecting my energy. So I just recently realized that I shouldn't be afraid. Like when I get certain requests from certain people, I kind of scan their page a little bit and try to decide like if I'm going to allow them to be on my friends list. And just recently I had like this just, I forget the word that I want to use, but I just had this realism that maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe just walking in the knowledge, knowing that I'm protected and listening to my intuition and knowing that I'm protected regardless, allow certain people to be on my page so that they can learn and they can see the love, and make sure that I give a lot of love to men and women, but mainly nothing against the men, but us women really need to come together, really love on each other and really support each other and be there for each other. So that's just basically what I wanted to say. Like maybe we just need some more exposure and more events, and just, you know, just put those intentions, like just when you're praying or whatever you do for your spiritual practice, to make those intentions to like have more women come together and to try to take away the fear that they have of not being included or not knowing how to participate in some of these events.
Can I
Yeah.
jump in for a minute?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, listen to this. It's going to tie into what we're talking about now. The reason why we cannot come together as women, because right now, and I would say this for the last 3 or 4 generations, they are wiping the grandmama gene off the planet.
Yes, ma'am. Mm.
That makes
Yes, they're
sense?
taking our wisdom from us. Yes.
That's right. So that's what is tying into the medical as well as what you said, sweetheart. It's bigger than what people think. Okay, check this out. I'm 62. All right. I'll be 63 Saturday. Right now, I am a great grandmother at 62. My daughter, who is 41, is a grandmother. You see what I'm saying? I still have the blessing to have my mom around. So when you wipe out the key player in the family, which was Big Mama, I'm Big Mama now. You see, well, my mother is Big Mama and I'm Little Mama. But when you wipe that gene out, and that's what they are doing, because they start killing us off at the age of 55. And that's a fact. So
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
why we got this division. So when you take away the wisdom, like the young lady said, you're tearing down. They've already taken the father out the house. So now they're working on Big Mama. So you can expect, it's not it's a generation, a generational curse that they are putting on us. They just doing it in a more sophisticated way.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, but what does that have to do? Oh,
It has a lot to do. It has a lot to do with, because Big Mama is the one that Big Mama. Look, if I was raised by my mother a certain way, my mother is 79 years old. Okay, her mother taught her. If you wipe that wisdom out, why you think because discipline don't change. I don't care. You might say we in the millennium and we gonna raise our children a different way. It's not working. Discipline starts in the home. Wisdom starts in the home. So if you wipe away that gene, you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you wipe away wisdom, you might as well just bury yourself in a coffin. You might as well buy you a coffin and jump in it. Because look at what the children are doing now. Look at what the children are doing now. If I tell you, and Timia, I raised you all a certain way, it's even worse now. If I tell you you could go outside, you be at home at a certain time, that's what I meant. If you wanted to go over your friend's house, what did I do? I checked out I went and checked out who the parents were. We don't do that. See, that's wisdom. It has nothing to do with time and age. I mean, that's a standard discipline in the home. You don't send your children to their little friend's house without checking who the parents are. Get to know the parents first.
Critical. Yes, ma'am.
That's true. But I feel like I get that, and you're absolutely right, Mom, because I know how you raised us. But I feel like us having the right understanding, like, at what point are we going to stop saying it's because of this or it's because of that when we already have the understanding, like amongst ourselves? If you want to do something, you're going to do it. If you really want something, you're going to make time for it. And I'm just going to use us as an example. So, like me, and I tell Naya this all the time. Like I absolutely get the schedules and even people outside of this, like even with our friends. I don't know how many friends you guys have, whatever. But even stuff like this, like I feel like we all know that we should be one. Even just with just like what's the girl name? I can't remember her name. She was just talking about this. Oh, I forgot her name. She was talking about unity. I can't remember her name. But anywho, what she was saying was she was basically saying like the empowerment of women, basically. So she wanted to. What is the girl's name? I can't remember her name.
It'll come, sis. It'll come. Keep going.
So she was talking. She was on TikTok. She was talking about how women used to unify back in the day, even with the Black Panthers and stuff like that. So she used that as an example, and she was like, "This is something that she wants to do, even within her community." She's a celebrity. I can't remember her freaking name. But she was like, "If the women or women, if we come together, we will realize how powerful we are." And she was like, it goes back to, like you said, the ego. It goes back to competition. It goes back to being selfish, all this other stuff. She did talk about her generation as well, but I feel like at what point are we going to stop saying, well, this is the root, so it's just going to keep going on and on and on and on? I think it's like a mental thing as well. Just like with me, like certain things that you taught me, of course, I'm going to pass it on to Jordan or whatever. But I don't feel like we should keep using it as an excuse of how we were raised or the generations or whatever. We're going to do it. You're going to do it. If you want to do it, you're going to make time for it. And that's what she was getting at. Marcia, her name, the young girl, she wrote the book. Y'all know who I'm talking about? I'll send y'all a picture. Anyway, she talks about stuff like this, and it does make sense. And that would make me think, okay, she's absolutely right. It's like we keep using excuses for stuff, but we still have the overstanding, but we still acting ignorant because we know what we're supposed to do. So at what point do we stop using things in the past that's not the same, like the generation thing? At what point do we stop using it as an excuse?
Okay, Timmy, with that
I
being,
think that was a good question. I think that was a very good question.
Because he said, and I don't even, and now you can elaborate. I don't know if you were asking about amongst ourselves or you were asking about women, period. I'm talking about women. Just like I stated with my friends and stuff like that. Because I'm a victim to it as well. I would make excuses, but I still have the understanding. So that just let me know I'm still ignorant because I know what I'm supposed to do. I don't feel like be this, huh?
okay, Timmy. Now, okay, when you said, when is it going to stop? When do we stop making excuses? It kind of went a little far from what I was saying. You don't, okay, foundation. Okay, the teachings that I taught you, that was a foundation. Those do not change.
Mm-hmm.
So you asked the question, how do we, women from different generations, how do we come together? See, because if they are wiping, understand this, if they are wiping the grandmama gene off the planet, grandmama is the one that brought all the feminine, it brought everybody together. Mm-hmm. So, and we have been taught their narrative.
Correct.
Understand what I'm saying? Grandmama, Big Mama set the foundation and it was passed on down to me. So if that gene, that wisdom is wiped off the planet, that's why your generation and the generation before you is having this disconnect, because the grandmama is no longer there to be a mediator, just to put it simple. Do that make sense?
Yeah, but I get that, but it's still lacking something. That's
what is lacking. Discipline.
I get what you're saying. No, I absolutely get that.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, okay, like you said, the generation. I get that, but what about the people who does have that solid foundation and they still don't do it? Is what I'm saying. When are we going to stop using that as an excuse? Even if you do have the foundation, at what point will you use your right overstanding to do what you know you're supposed to do, is what I'm saying. And that taps into his question. When he said, what does he feel? Repeat the question, Mike. What do you feel, or why do you feel that the women can't connect? Is that what you stated?
I think some things come in divine timing for people. You know, it's kind of like a person who was raised very, very religious, and now that they're older and they can break away from their family, they run rampant and they have these new different things and new different avenues and journeys to walk. So like, even though you have that foundation, it's instilled. So you're going to make your mistakes. You still have to learn. You still have to learn to make mistakes. Like if you're perfect, you're not learning any lessons. So on your path, it's like a video game. So like on your path, you have these little things that you can use to help you along your journey. And I think that your wisdom from your elders or from your grandma Jean, as sis was saying, that she have instilled in you, you can use those things and it becomes a part of your intuition, So like, it's like you will find yourself saying, well, I wasn't raised like that. And my grandma didn't teach me like that. My grandmother taught me this. And I hear that from a lot of women and men. Like, I wasn't raised to be this way. My grandma taught me this and my grandma. So there's certain principles. And
That's
even
right.
though like there's certain principles that we have and they're instilled in us and we will use them and they will come forth. Even when after we make our mistakes and we realize, I made a mistake and now I'm learning from it. And now I can take what I've learned and I can apply it to the principle that grandma taught me. And now I know why she taught me this. Now I know why she told me this. Now I know why she was so hard on me. Now I know why, she did certain things and I thought she was hard on me and, she was being a little bit rough, but now I understand why. And then you can instill those things in your children, but from the modern point of view. So we don't want to get rid of our ancient views. We don't want to get rid of our tradition totally because now of modern society, because the disconnect is coming from social media and we don't get me wrong, we can use technology to our advantage. This is why we're able to commune with each other right now. But I think a lot of the disconnect has come from technology. It has come from going into our home and teaching us how to raise our children. It has come from taking the man out of our home, and putting a big responsibility on the women, and our men succumbing to crack cocaine, to heroin, going into war, coming back addicted to drugs, now having to stand out in the streets and sell drugs to provide for himself and his family, or feeling like he's less than because now he cannot provide, so now it puts a big strain on the women. Now everything is like everything like you're removing our where you're removing us from being connected from Mother Earth. I'm going to say Mother Earth. So now we have to go out and we have to provide for the family, be a mother, carry on this identity of femininity. We supposed to remain feminine. We supposed to remain submissive. Now we got to pay the bills and we got to take care of the children and we got to fend for ourselves and possibly take care of our man. Now he's locked up. Now we got to take care of him. Now we got to do all these things on our own. So a lot of the disconnect didn't come per se from us, but it came from the system. So now we have
absolutely
our wisdom together and our tradition together. Like our tradition is very, very important, and they want to take that away from us. So I think that people in the community like Queen Afua, she's very big on women coming together and healing their wounds, because when you heal your wound, you can heal a nation, and you are able to identify certain things in a man. As per se, you won't use certain words to put him down. You can identify parts of him that needs healing. You will know if your husband comes home, the example she used, you will know when your husband come home and he's having a bad day and he's agitated, you'll know not to tell him to take a drink or to pull a blunt. You'll know to go and you make him some chamomile tea. You know that chamomile tea is going to calm his nerves. To prepare a bath with cucumber. What was the bath she said? She said cucumber and hops. So you could prepare a bath for him and you could put him in a bath to help calm his energy down. These are some of the things that I think we should learn and that we should continue to teach our women and our men. So we're going to get our lessons, we're going to learn principles, and we're going to maybe go against those principles because we have peer pressure. Everybody got peer pressure. All of us grow up having peer pressure. I'm to this day trying to purge from the music, no matter how hard, no matter how much I know that they have weaponized music, I am still attracted to certain music, you know, because of the beat, because of the tone. And I tell myself, this is so toxic. Why am I listening to this? You know, I don't want my nephew to listen to it. I know that it's wrong. I know that it's toxic. So it's like, I know much better, but I'm still doing it. So it's like, I'm still in the process of growing and learning
Right.
discipline and strengthening myself. So like, we all gonna go down that path where we're gonna make mistakes. And we just got to put it together and take those principles we learned from grandma and grandpa and apply it. You know, it'll all come together. Like everything starts to come together and make sense.
But see, and that goes back to basically what I said. It's like, as I stated, like we know what we're supposed to do, but we don't know. As I said, if it's something that you really want to do, you're going to put energy into doing it. That's why I say it goes back to, you just said it. You just said about the generations and stuff like that, and then you want to purge yourself from the music. Let's use that as an example. You know why you don't want to listen to the music, basically, and it goes back to the question. We know what we should do to unify and become as one, but we're not doing it. So I think that goes back to what I said. If we're going to keep using the same things as an excuse, we know what we're supposed to do, but we're not going to do it. We're going to use the generation as an excuse. We're going to use the media as an excuse. We're going to use all this as an excuse because it's easier for us to cope with that. That's just what it is. And y'all are kind of sort of saying the same thing what I'm saying, but it's a little contradictory because you want to go back and say, well, we don't have this anymore. But at what point do you stop using it as an excuse and you move forward? And you do what you supposed. Well, you move forward and go to your overstanding. You know.
Okay.
It's not an excuse.
It is an excuse because
no, it's not.
You just said it yourself. You said it. You're not saying the same verbiage that I'm saying, but you're correlating to the same thing I'm saying in the same sense. That is an excuse because you just said about the generations.
The music.
Huh?
I said something about music.
Yeah, and you said about the generation as well, just like my mom said. You stated that it's just like the music, right? And our generations is not here. I get that. I'm not negating that at all. What I'm saying is, as us, we're moving into the culture. As us, as Nuwabis, instead of the science of Nuwabu or whatever, Nuwabic, we have the right understanding. At what point do we stop saying, oh, we can't move forward because of this? We can't move forward because of that. What is the point of having the knowledge that we have if we're not going to apply it? It's the same exact thing. But I feel like the subject that you guys went to went a little off of what I was answering tonight's question. He was talking about the women, why he feel like we can't come together. And that was my reason, because I feel like it does play into the ego. And I agree with you. You said that. It does play into a lot of that. But I don't feel like
it's not so much as the ego, it's the foundation in which if you got a grandmother, listen, if they are wiping out the grandmother gene, and then you got like your sister, she is a grandmother at 41.
But we're not talking, I'm not saying that. No, y'all not listening to what I'm saying. What I said was, we're not talking about that. You can't, your grandma not here no more. You have the knowledge. You have the right understanding. We're talking about today. We're not talking about the past tense. You have that. So why are we not applying that someone to move forward? What I'm saying, you can't give me the generations when we're talking about today's foundation is what I'm saying. And I feel like that's the question. That's why I asked Naya, can you elaborate? I feel like that's the question that he asked.
Timbia, but who has the knowledge? We know that you do. We know that I do. We know that the people in this group do. But when you say that we have the knowledge and that we're not taking responsibility and we're making excuses, who are you talking about?
We can use an example as ourselves, like us. Period. That's what I'm saying.
But me admitting that I have to purge from music is taking responsibility. Like I know, like I'm taking ownership of what it is that I know that is wrong, like where I know that I need to work on. So when you say that we know we have this knowledge, but we're making excuses, there are people who don't have this knowledge, who are misguided, who love to hear certain music, who are not eating the proper foods, you know, who don't have principles, who don't have their grandparents in their life, who was raised by a teen mother who don't have these principles, who haven't learned this, who don't know what it is to honor tradition and honor like the principles and honor the things that your grandparents have done for you and have paved the way. Like, we don't know these things. A lot of people don't know these things. They don't know how to honor people who have paved the way to make this possible for us today. So you have some knowledge of self, but there are a lot of women who don't have knowledge of self. Their knowledge is weaves, eyelashes, getting butt injections, getting all this attention from the media, from social network, from men, getting the wrong attention. So like, are you saying that people who have knowledge of self are still doing things that they shouldn't do and they're not taking responsibility? Or are we trying to target a certain group of people because we want to elevate them? We want to help them to open their third eye. We want to help them to be conscious of the things that's around them. Some people are not ready for that. They don't want to be ready. They don't care about that. I've tried. So I've learned they will seek, the teacher will appear when the student is ready. So I've tried that. You know, when they're ready, they will show their faces. Some people do not want to be bothered with it. They've known people who have had negative experience with it. It will change your whole life. Things that you thought were true are not true. You have to be really grounded and rooted before you get a lot of information, because people will take certain things from you and leave you there to fend for reality on your own. So I've had that happen to me. Somebody just cut my roots for everything that I ever thought was true, and then just left me there. There was no support. There was no spiritual support. There was no like holding me down. There was nothing. I just was like lost. I was like hurt. I was confused. I went through some things because of knowledge. And I'm happy to say that I'm strong and I'm here and I'm still fighting some things, but like who we need to identify, and we got to have discernment on who do we want to target. Like, I hate to use that word target. It has like negative connotation to it, but like we do need to have some idea. Like the brother was saying, we want to post very positive images of ourselves. I was speaking to him over the phone. He was like, we're looking to post some positive images of ourselves. We want to continue to like high vibration. When we want to keep the vibration really, really high, because I mean, you gotta fight for high vibration, man. If you high, the low can't get to you.
You gotta fight hard too.
We gotta what?
You gotta fight hard too. Like, it's a real
you gotta
battle.
fight hard. Yeah, it's a battle. You gotta fight hard. You gotta be firm in what you believe in, your convictions. And you just and you need, and not so much tradition, but that's the word that's going around, your tribe. Once you get your tribe and you know that you have that support, you feel comfortable walking your path, a little bit more comfortable walking your path, knowing that you do have some support, opposed to people who is dumping all this information on us and just leaving us out there to fend for ourselves. I think that happened too. And a lot of people just gave up and was like, man, you know what? It's easier to not care. It's easier to listen to this music. It's easier to eat because I'm hungry. I'm not blessed like that. You know, I'm not privileged to eat these good foods. Where am I going to go to get these fruits and vegetables? Now, every time I think I'm doing something correct, more information gets dumped on me and tell me that this is now wrong. So like, when am I doing something right? Like, so we don't have that foundation anymore. And I think we do need a foundation. And there's a quote, right, that I really like. And it's an African proverb. And it says, the youth can walk faster, but the elder knows the road. And I really like that quote. And I really think that our youth and the younger generation have no idea what it is to sit in the presence of an elder. They don't know what it is to walk in front of an elder and tap the floor with respect, like, and pay homage, and just pay homage for them even being here with all the chemicals and all the all the medicines and all the different things that they have put out here to destroy our wisdom. Like, it's just an honor to be in your presence. And they know things beyond this realm. Like, you would be really surprised when you sit with them, just to sit with them and just listen to them talk. And they will say things that will just like move you. So like, I think our younger people, our younger generation needs to know what it is to be amongst an elder.
Okay.
Okay, hold up for 1 second. Hold up for 1 second.
Yeah.
So let me interject for just a brief second. So what I wanted to do is say, for one, I agree with the majority of you sisters' perspective. I understood where the sister Taya was going with just basically, taking responsibility of things that she actually does recognize as not so great habits. But I also understood the perspective where the sister Timia was coming from, where, she was basically saying, it's time that, us in the conscious community, whether it be men or women, that we step up and try to, not use so many excuses on why we do things. So I just want to put that out there and then propose this question, because we never got to the gist of it.
Naya, let me say that I have to interrupt. It's not what we're looking at is what we see in the physical. If we're going to have these discussions, then we have to connect to every discussion that we started out with the medical. As I told you, in 1983, they start in chipping our children. Okay, when I knew this, and that chip is programmed, it's just like a disc. So what we're looking at, we're not just looking at things. We're looking at things like from a matrix standpoint too. But you got to realize those chips that was implanted in our children has a program. They are programmed to think a certain way. So in order to deconstruct that chip, it has to be replaced with something. And that's how I deprogram my children. But see, a lot of people don't know that. But if anyone's listening, you have to get the knowledge, the right knowledge, to deprogram what's already been programmed into them the moment they come out the mother's womb. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Huh?
Well, you're definitely being programmed the moment you come out your mother's womb if you give birth in a hospital, because that's not the face that you're supposed to see anyway. That should not be the first face that you see when you come out your mother's womb. So that's the first program.
It's a chip. It's a chip that's been inserted inside your children. And it causes them to think a certain way, act a certain way. It's just not the upbringing. It's a lot of things that's coming into play. They're wiping the grandmama genes off the planet. Okay, we see that. But that chip that's being placed in these children causes them, they don't want to listen. It's not just the mama gene. See, I'm just glad that I knew about this information. I would not disclose how I learned about this information, but it's there. So you're not just dealing with the lack of the grandmama gene being wiped off and the great grandmama gene. You're dealing with that chip. The reason why you're speaking, young lady, the way that you're speaking, because you have deprogrammed yourself. And that was done through right knowledge. But how many people have the right knowledge to do that? How many people know that this is going on in the hospital? It's starting from the hospital. That's where it's starting from. So we cannot rule that out. I have a daughter she's 41. She's a grandmother. I have tried to deprogram her. Now she knows my foundation of teaching. She knows her grandmother foundation. And it goes back to what Timmy is saying too. It's a choice. But then you have to realize what's inside of these people.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the next question. At what point do you think that we can become more progressive people, united around self-determination? And what I mean by self-determination is our own schools, our own land, our own teachers, our own fire departments, etc. Like a society of our own, where it is represented properly with leadership, male and female, or men and women, as well as a thoroughly organized economic structure, so that the women and the children will be able to feel protected and taken care of. This question is for Jazzy first. I would like her to start that dialogue.
Okay, so for me, getting land is very important, right? Because if you do not have a foundation, literally, then you're just working on others' foundation, and that is rocky, and the people on this call understand that. So that's first. Second is to literally build and maintain your own financial decisions. So literally make your own money, like literally build your own financial institution. They call it a bank, right? But literally build that and literally only use that currency, and no other currency can come in to play, right? And also expounding upon what Ms. Rhonda was speaking on, the children, and healing the womb. So all of those, and that's my point.
In order to do that, you have to get the mind right first. You have to get the mind of the person right first before you could do anything. You could build all kind of you could go on the land, you could build your own hospitals, but the mind, the correct right knowledge have to be placed inside the mind to do anything.
Yes, ma'am, I agree with that as well.
That's your first, that's the first thing you got to do. You got to get, in order to make all this happen, you have to get the minds right first. You can build with a bank run. You have to get the mind right first. And that's the only way you're going to do it. The minds of the people.
Yes, ma'am. And hopefully you can see the picture in the chat, the Four Noble Facts. That is literally the basis of destroying the programming of your mind, and to begin to understand what it even is and what it entails. It's very well broken down. So yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this question is a very good question that one of the brothers just asked in the live chat. For those that have been actually studying Nuwaubu, right, and the Nuwapic, as given to us by the master teacher, Timbia, this question is directed to you, and then we're going to go around in the group. How has Nuwaubu worked to change your life, help to discipline you in the newer ways that maybe it wasn't? I know you pretty much came up in it, because Miss Rhonda pretty much taught you from a child. But how has Nuwaubu worked to change your life? Can you give us that information and from your perspective, and maybe give us some experiences and comparing and contrasting? Is she there? Can you hear Timbia?
I'm not sure if she's there.
I don't see the sister Timbia in the group. I see the sister Sharon just showed up. Rahubat, sis.
Rahubat.
Can y'all
Hey,
hear
Rob
me?
Out family, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you,
Yes.
sis.
Hey,
There was a question in the chat directed towards Timbia. So what I'll do is I'll move on to Miss Ann. Miss Ann, can you tell us how Nuwabu has worked to pretty much change your life, or tell us, what has it done for you since you've been studying?
What am I here? Oh,
Your phone is breaking up just a little bit.
am I? I can't see. Okay. Never mind. Okay. Well, can you repeat that question? Could you repeat the question?
Okay, they want to know in the live chat, how has Nuwabu worked?
No,
Studying
yeah.
Nuwabu and studying
Could
Nuwabic,
you
how
hear
has
me?
that
Could you
worked to
repeat the
make you a better
question?
person? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can now.
Okay,
Yes, as you read the doctrine, you become the doctrine, and you can't, in this the society that we in at present, in this day and time, you need something other than what the education that you've had in the past under the system of oppression. So study the doctrine, read the Dr. York book. He's been such an excellent source of knowledge and inspiration. And the sound right reasoning, which he incorporated, makes a lot of sense, because how could I explain the impact that he's had on my life? I'll just say for now that it has prepared me for what's today, what's ahead, what we all going through today. It's I can't, it's such a profound effect it's had on me. The education, the knowledge has been invaluable. That's as best I can sum it out. I can go on and on, but I won't, because there's so many other people that I'm sure they've got their own ideas. I mean, we're all individual, and I'm not saying that it's going to work for everyone, but I can say 100% without for definite 100% it's worked for me. Because everyone, we all in this chat room are different, and we got all our ideas and ideal and expectation. But one thing we all should have in common at this stage is to know for certain that we need to learn and relearn. It's a constant change is the only thing that's sure for sure at this stage, because we have to educate ourselves, learn and unlearn a lot of the bad information and education that the system under the Caucasus have taught us. It may work it's never worked for the older generation. If the younger generation is saying it works for them, I think all I can say is they're kidding themselves, because the reason being I'm saying that is that our generation, all we knew through the oppression was spirituality, and that's all we had to go by. And it worked, it didn't work 100%, but it helped us through the struggle that was necessary at that time to get us to the stage that we're at present. And the younger generation, they seem to have lost And I'm not saying lost because it's still there. It needs just to be awakened. They are not spiritually inclined as the older generation. And I'm not blaming them, because if I was I wasn't born in the UK, I was born in St. Vincent, and I noticed the profound difference in the children in UK where they're being injected with all these before they're 6 months, all these different. And I noticed that the attitude to the ones, if you were born in the Caribbean, it's different. And I'm not blaming or casting stones at the younger generation, because it's not their fault at all, you know? But what I will say that they've lost a lot of spiritual, they're different. You're getting a different set of children being born today, in a positive and some negative. That's all I will say, you know, that's on my end. No, yeah.
Okay, so another question I would like to ask. I know Taya probably can't answer this because she's not been around long. Miss Ann, you've been around long. Timbia has been around a little bit. Okay, so when I met all of you guys, from that time to now, I want y'all to be honest and explain y'all's growth by walking with me on this journey to try to develop us a community, especially where the sisters actually have a voice. How has the journey with walking with me been for you all? Let's put it on the table. Timbia?
Hell. No, I'm kidding. It has been a powerful journey, to say the least. I would say just you being the one to step up and try to build a foundation, so we can further the culture or whatever. I admire that. I really, really do. And even like now, I know you and my mom used to be very, very close. I like that you want to include the feminine energy, because you know who the hell we are. I admire that as well. So it has been, I've seen growth within myself. And it goes back to something that I was saying earlier. We've become so accustomed to using excuses of not trying to further or better ourselves, that we remain content, although that we have the understanding. That's, like I said, that I've seen growth within myself, because just seeing that you want to do this and you're willing to teach it, it just sparks something in me to like, okay, you know what? Hey, I've had this knowledge for X amount of years or whatever. When am I going to apply it? And to see that you really, really care, and you're trying to push us all to where we can get to that point. It sparks something to me to let me know, hey, I need to change this. I see that it can be done. I see that Naya is willing to teach. So let me not even just waste his time. Let me not waste my time. Let me do what I have to do. So, like this journey has been, it's been a good journey so far. And I thank you very, very much. Dog, now you want me to keep going? Want me to give you some more praises? He said that. We want to keep going.
Naya, you there?
I don't start making him cry.
Can y'all hear me?
Are you crying?
The reason why why I actually asked that question is there are sisters here who aren't, they haven't been here long, so they really don't know me, so they're just joining. And I think that it's important. Like, one of the biggest things that I tried to do was I tried to bond with everybody. Like, I make my rounds, so to speak. I conversate with Miss Rhonda. I conversate with Miss Ann. I conversate with you, Timbia. Me and Jazzy chop it up. The sister Sharon, even the brothers. I try to make it to whereas I give y'all the experience of having somebody that really truly wants us all to come together, and tried to form a group for you all as far as the sisters, so that y'all can kind of sort of have y'all thing. I want this platform to be holistic, right? So in order to do that, you have to share. And there is a lot of people that's on the live right now that's listening to everything we have to say. They're critiquing everything we have to say, but we want them to actually understand, our direction, where we're trying to go, the mission, and how we do things, so that we can be able to bring them closer to the spiritual science and sound right reasoning. But with that being said, I wanted to actually get everybody's actual experience. I have nothing to hide. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. I don't think I'm a bad person. I've kind of sort of tried to deal with everybody in a fair way, because I know that community is important. It's one of the reasons why I changed one of the days for family time, because I don't think you can truly build a community, right, if we're only concerned about what a person's learned, right? It's like, I'm not going to call you every day and say, hey, you got those words memorized? Hey, sister, did you read that book? Hey, brother, did you memorize that definition? No, I want to know how you're doing. If you have children, how are the children, right? If you're going through something, like a couple of sisters, you can reach out to me. If it's anything that I can do, I'm going to try my best to be able to do it. And I think that needs to be projected, that that's how we do things, so that when new souls come in, they know that they actually have a home. You want to elaborate, Jazzy?
Yes. For me, I've just literally started about a week ago, but I have been put into a position to step up like immediately. And I feel that I have done so, and I've learned so much through various different platforms and, collaborating different things that I knew I could do, but I hadn't yet actually acted upon. So I appreciate you kind of pushing me out there like, you ready? Okay, let's go. Boom. And I was like, yeah, so I appreciate that.
Okay. What about you, Sister Sharon? You're kind of coming in the middle, but I want to give you a voice and a chance to speak as well, sis. Anything you want to add to the conversation? You have to unmute your mic, Sharon. I don't know if she can unmute her mic.
Wait, who talk to me or somebody else?
You. I wanted to.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. I was talking. No,
Yeah,
you good.
If you wanted to elaborate on what we were just speaking about.
About how has it helped us in
Right.
okay, well, it's definitely helped me. I feel, I'm not gonna lie, I feel kind of complete, because I kept saying, like, I see people online like, dang, everybody got their soul tribe. I don't know where mine's at. And I just feel better to feel like I'm actually in touch with like-minded people. I did have to cut a lot of people off that were not going the way I was going and still steering me in that way. Also, as I read the Holy Tablet, I recognize the language, and I'm like, it's for real. Like, this the real language. So I kind of get excited, and I be like, man, I gotta study more, because like, even though it's easy, I think it's just the fact that the Arabic tongue kind of a little bit, it just kind of intimidate me. But I just be like, man, like when I start, talking like this, they gonna know that I really changed. They gonna be like, what? So it's just the fact that and y'all know I watched the Malachi, the new Wapping on YouTube. I watched that channel too. And then I'm trying to start to understand some of the stuff they saying. So to me, it just feels good, because I was praying about something and it actually happened. So it's like, it's really alive. The spirit's really alive. It's like, it's not fake. So I don't know. To me, it makes me excited, and it just actually, I'd be like, okay, if I actually understand fluently, because I always ask why we can't interact with our ancestors directly. It's indirect. So I just wonder, like, if I know this language and I'm talking to them, will they actually be able to understand me to where I'll actually get replies that I'll understand. Cause I don't have y'all read those holy tablets. I'm not lying, y'all. They make me feel so slow, and I know I'm smart, but I be like, I have to read it
Just
2 and 3
replay it.
times.
Yeah,
Man,
replay it.
yes, I'd be like, I thought I was smart, but it got something for me in reading a book. So now I'm just I'm excited that I could push my brain capacity to a point to where it has it gone. And I thought I was smart, and now I just realize how ancient they are. Like they really, they try to say that, oh, that they was at the cave. No, we're in the caveman phase actually. We're trying to get up to them. So yeah, I don't know. I tell people about it and they just look at me, but I know once they see it in action, once I put in my work and then I'm done, they'll know that it's real.
Okay, with that being said, I have this question for everybody, and I don't really want you guys to overtalk each other, so we can direct the conversation. But I want to ask y'all this: what message would you send? Because we have a lot of the sisters watching right now, and they're definitely rooting for y'all in the chat. What message would y'all send the sisters as a good reason to come join us?
Well, if nobody has anything, I don't want to overtalk y'all. I just want to
For
say,
the children, for the future of your children and their children. It's all about the generations that's being born right now. You need this knowledge. You need the language. You reconstruct, because right now we're in a phase right now where they saying that the narrative now that they have no more power. That's right, but look at what they have already implemented. So we have to re-educate, relearn everything. And this is the group to start. This group right here. They have the right wisdom and the right understanding.
I would like to also add that knowing that language can unify or divide, and that how they weaponize sound frequency, I think that the application of sound frequency as a tool to heal. So the sister was previously talking about the language, and I'm very attracted to the language and the high vibration that it brings, and how it can unify us and keep us together, and we can all have something like in common, because language, I think, is very important.
Oh, I agree with that. Absolutely.
Yes, can I just say, the language and the doctrine go hand in hand. I think it's really necessary for us to bring this ancient knowledge and language to the future generation. Because what I can see, what I'm seeing happening right under my nose is that I've just applied for mine, and already they're asking for to donate your organs. Now I can see I've put no, and also spoke to my husband regarding if anything happened to me, I don't want to stress. This is my wish. But I can see that very soon you won't even have that choice. They're going to just take it anyway. So I think it's really important, this doctrine, to have for ourselves as a way of uniting us as a people. If you don't do it for yourself, at least for your children, give them something to follow or carry on.
So is there anybody in the I'm sorry, Miss Sand, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just wanting to ask, is there any one in the sisters group that have children that are now teaching the children the language?
I do. with my older son, and sometimes my daughter, she'll listen in. But some of the stuff I have learned so far, I'll teach my son. He's 13. So I'm starting to, I need to do it more often. But yeah, I have started it with my kids. They already have, well, my son does. He already has some of the knowledge as well. So I have started. And he some of the words he remember, but I feel like I'm going to start allowing him to sit in when we have the classes, because I was talking to him about it yesterday, and I was asking him some of the words that I did teach him, is just quite a few. And he was asking me, he was like, how are you learning this? And he asked about his grandmother, my mom. Does she know? I was like, yeah, she's in the class. So he even asked, can he sit in or whatever. So I'm going to start having him sit in as well as my daughter as well. So yeah, we're on it. We're getting there.
Taya, when would you like to begin? Because I know I've been asking you like redundant questions about your schedule. Only because I didn't write it down, and I do have a lot of stuff I'll be doing. But when would you be available for the classes so that we can get you caught up to speed? Because we'd really like to have you participate.
Can we discuss that offline?
Yes, absolutely. So the last question I would like to ask, and this is something that I think that we all need to think about. What do we need to see in each other to know that we all are actually ready to build a strong community or a strong family where we stick together? Because we have a saying in the Wabble. We say, one go, all go, one stay, all stay, one leave, everybody leave. No Nawabians get left behind. And I'm real strict with that. We may have our little disagreements. We may even have a little falling out. At the end of the day, divine love keeps us connected with each other. And I think that it's very important that we really discuss with the people the qualities that we seek when people are entering the ranks of the community, as well as the qualities that we ourselves need to project so that they see that we are definitely where they need to be. Anybody want to elaborate on that?
Go ahead.
I would say respect. The complete definition of respect, because it's about 4 different ones. Respect is like first. Without respect for yourself, you don't respect others. And respect is everything. You can kill a whole supposed argument with just respecting a person's point of view by allowing them to finish, as they're speaking, simple things. But respect is everything to me.
You
Okay.
also need structure. It has to be structured.
Yes.
Everything has to be in the right order.
I would agree.
Implement a plan.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, Miss Ann saying she agreed, but I heard Miss Rhonda saying this.
Yes, I would agree with that, because the young to respect the elder and the elder to respect the young. We grew up where, it's very difficult with parents, with older parents, to not see things sisters always say, which I grew up with, that they were always right. That's what, the strict parentage, that they're always right, but that's not always the case. You have to learn to listen to your children, because they have a voice as well, and there's also a lot of things that they could teach the older generation. Remember, the ancestors coming back, so they'll come already packaged in their DNA. A lot of things that we won't have a clue as an older as elders. So we have to, I'm going to say that from try not to be biased, but I'm seeing it, things from our angle, as we have these different kind of parentage when you are brothers and sisters, when you have your niece the views and needs. You hear different people, and you have to respect what they're saying because it's moving. It's about moving forward and evolving. Not being in the same mindset. So we have to learn, unlearn, and relearn, and that's the basis of respect as well. It all comes in that package.
You want to expound on that, Tate?
Who?
I asked Tate, does she want to?
Oh, okay.
I actually agree with her. I do think that we have to respect our children because our children are coming in knowing a lot. We also can learn a lot from our children, I also wanted to add trust. I think that trust is like a major factor, especially if we have highly in tuned women in the group. And I think that we will be able to feel when something is off, and learning how to trust yourself and your tuition and learning discernment is highly important to be able to trust the people who you're around and trust knowing that you can go to someone for counsel, being able to go to someone for counsel, because that's what the elders were actually for. You should be able to go to them for counsel and trust that people will be treated righteously and equally within the group. So I think that makes a lot of, I think that's very important. And seeing the gifts of each individual person and how we can all be interconnected and how we can all use those gifts to create a family. So we want to be self-reliant. We want our group to be very self-reliant. We don't want to have to depend so much on I don't want to say we need to segregate ourselves, but segregating yourself is not that bad. I mean, in the perspective of what's going on in society now, is not too much. It's not really bad segregating yourself a little bit, but we want to be very self-reliant and we want to be able to lean on each other for different things. So I think that's important. I land.
Okay, what about you, Sharon? You have something to explain about that?
Yeah, so actually everything they're saying all together, I definitely agree with. And my main thing is that I'm trying to look to a point to where we can actually, like I said, actually get in the land and actually living together, actually having our own system. Because when I talk to a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, what is it going to do for me? I still have to live in the matrix. I still have to go to work. So I would actually, my thing is like we have to get the money we need to get the barter system. I look at some survival supplies, I look at land. My thing is I look at why we treat each other the way we do, mostly on social media when I try to, talk positive love. The main thing is money. They talk to each other a certain type of way behind money. Or I'm flexing, I'm this, or I'm a bad bitch, I'm this, I'm that. Nobody can come together because they're too busy flexing on each other. But what they're not realizing is that we are going cashless. If you pay attention to what they're doing, they have you scanning stuff with your hand. Once we have our own community to where we don't need them, we have our barter system, we have our midwives. I post stuff like this all the time. It gets zero replies because people are not ready and willing to do the work. They can't see it. All they see is doing the same thing they do, so-called flexing on each other. And when I got to a point where I was like, I didn't like some of the ways I thought behind money when I was in bad positions. The reason why I got a record, I said, and when we get that out of the way and get back to a barter system and get back to a system to where we're actually living in our community, protecting our black men, our children, our women. If y'all go down my page, my Facebook page, you're gonna see that's mainly what burns me up. We're getting killed. Nobody's doing anything. We're not stopping them. They're continually mistreating us. So I feel like once they can see that we actually have our own community and we feel protected, and y'all don't have to do the stuff y'all do. Y'all don't have to be robbing. Y'all don't gotta talk to each other like that. The main reason nobody can get along because they too busy flexing on each other. They can't even get to the core of their self. Do you actually have love for your people or not? I mean, I don't have kids, but to see black men constantly getting killed, we need our own systems. And once the moral and respect comes together and we get on a high vibration to where we can work together as a community and we don't have to live in the matrix that we've been living in, they're gonna be like, okay, that's probably something I want to do now. Because there was an elder, I'm not gonna mention his name, and he was saying that okay, and he actually stopped talking to all of us, but he was like, yeah, I want to do this, but I still have to go to work for the man. So once I see that we have our own system and it's gonna do something for me, then I'll join. Until then, it's pointless. He didn't see the point of us coming back to original, coming back to our God state. Only thing he could still think about was money. I think about money, but when I think about money, I'm thinking about getting all the stuff we're gonna need, the survival stuff we're gonna need. When the energy grid, we're only gonna have ourselves. So black people, we gotta start getting together now. I don't know if y'all see Boosie. He's already started buying land and he's already started buying houses. Even though Boosie is not even woke or whatever like that, he's a good person. And he's really sweet and he has a good heart. So we are trying to get the people that have money, rappers, all these people, the stuff they doing, even us, we're gonna have to take our money, put our money together, build our own system. Once we get back to the barter system, you will see people more pure intentions and they don't have to worry about money because they just act a donkey behind money. So I just want people to like unfortunately it's gonna take the physical for people to see that we got something going and then they'll come join us or be actually interested in where we're trying to go as a soul tribe. So
To be, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think
you
that
good.
was greatly elaborated on. So I want to say this. When I first started this a while ago, I started propagating under the umbrella term, the imperial order, to be able to give people a sense of belonging and, to also be able to give our people a place to whereas they can learn the spiritual science of Nawabu, the culture of our ancient ancestors, as well as to be able to promote the language. I more so favor promoting the language because just like the sister Taya spoke, the language has a whole different level of unification. Like whether people don't know it, and Miss Rhonda and I have gotten into debates about this in previous times when I was trying to actually elaborate that I wanted to teach the language minus the doctrine only in our beginning stages because I understood the unification of the language and that the doctrine travels through the language, which we're now into that phase now. So I say that to say there are going to be people that they don't feel that they have the qualities to walk with us to help build as we go along. They'll be the people that soon as we get everything established, they're knocking at our door saying, hey man, we believed in y'all the whole time, when in reality, they didn't want to actually walk that journey and be a part of the people who actually put the blood, sweat, and tears in to be able to make sure it get off the ground. I also spoke about this to Jazzy and a few of the brothers that I'm kind of connected with, that one of the reasons why I started to propagate and teach is because I got tired of people sitting on lives, and I'm not, knocking nobody or trying to be, rude, but I got tired of people sitting on lives talking about what we should do. They'll tell us, hey, we need a community and we need land and we need all this stuff. But when they get off of the live, they go back to the regular lives that they actually lead. And it brings us into the awareness that, well, maybe with certain people that this is only propaganda. So I wanted to be one of the people that was considered not just a thinker, but a doer. I wanted to bring to people the idea that we can build a community. We can connect with one another. We can deal with each other respectfully. We can learn our language. We can learn our culture. We can work together to make sure that the children in the next generation, as well as this generation, get to where they need to go. But everybody's not going to be with us. It's just that simple. It's hard enough for me to reach out to people and get people to communicate with us. People that are actually in the group. If anybody's been in the Facebook groups, they see I've dissolved the 2 language groups because we had more people that sat in the group and didn't participate than we had that actually participated. Now, I don't ask people for nothing more than what I'm willing to do myself, right? I'm not going to try to tell and boost y'all up to go do things that I'm not willing to do. But I do have a problem with, like the sister was saying, the quality of people that they put absolutely no work in, but they want all the perks and the benefits from the people who actually work together to actually put the work in. I think that that's sad for us as a people. We're at a time now to where this perform or perish, right? We have to do what we need to do. And I'm not saying that, oh, you should drop your life and you have to stop doing the things that, is necessary for you to take care of yourself until we get there. But what I am saying is, in times that you can be available, please make yourself available, because I wake up 5 o'clock every morning. I start doing PowerPoints, lesson plans, syllabuses, curriculums. I'm talking to people, certain sisters and brothers that reach out to me that have problems. I stop what I'm doing, or I make time, so that those brothers and sisters get the proper nurturing as far as, but what they're going through, and try to help people as much as possible. But I'm only one person, to be honest, right? So with that being said, the last question, and I know I said this before, but I want to get this out. The last question is, how many people in our group is really in support of building a strong community? And when I say building a strong community, I mean working together to truly make yourself available to put all this stuff together so that we can actually buy ourselves some land and move towards actually having our own society. Now, I think I'm too old to try to give us a country, right? But the least I can do is play a big role in helping us get at least enough land that we have our own town, right? I think that's, in my lifetime, I think that that's feasible. You have towns out there now that's actually cheaper than some houses in upper middle class America in different states, right? I've been working closely with a few brothers and sisters that's actually been doing that research. I don't want to divulge that information too much right now because I don't want to let the cat out the bag. But let's say, for example, we were able to go get us a town and it was feasible. How many people do you think that would be willing to work to actually cultivate that town so that we would have our own homeland and that our children would have something to be passed on to them, right? In the future generations to come. Y'all can take the floor.
I think it's a level of trust. I think trust plays like an important factor in knowing that you're working to provide and to support a certain land that you're looking forward to. So I'd rather not say names, but we know of certain people in the community who take on donations and make promises and they don't honor those promises, So like we've heard of situations like that, speaking, but I think it's about trust. Once I feel like highly comfortable and I trust the situation and my intuition is telling me that it's a goal, I'm definitely for it. I'm definitely for our own independence. And I'm for it. Like I'm already in a state of mind. I'm about to graduate pretty soon and I will be working to own. So everything that I work for, I will be putting towards a bigger business, like my own independent business. So this is something that I look forward to. I land.
Okay. Now, me and you have had this discussion many of times, and we're still discussing. The proof is in the pudding. You can only deal with a person for, talk is cheap. In my generation, talk is cheap. You have to prove yourself accordingly, because we can talk about what we can do or what we will do. It's show and tell. And that's the only way that you will know who's who. When it's time, we come together like we're doing now in private settings. You can only deal with people for what they show you, not what they say they're going to do, what they actually put in. Because whatever they put in, that's what they're going to get out. I can tell you, I'll give you $1 million, and when it's time to show up, hey, because your word is your bond. Right now, your action speaks for itself. That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Anybody else?
You
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's it. You know, when people say, hey, if I go to a person, if I'm trying to get a business started, I will go to them straight up. Hey, I'm trying to get this business started. Would you like to be an investor? Would you like to be a silent partner? However, we can work things out. If that answer is yes, and when it's time to do show and tell, and that person do not show up, that's my answer right there. Don't say what you can do or what you want to do. I mean, don't tell me yes, and when it's time to make a move, the answer is no. I can't do it unless you tell me ahead of time. You know, I'm flexible. Well, what happened? You know, I'm ready to make a move. You see what I'm saying? It's what people will show you, cause talk is cheap. People can say, "Oh yeah, I'm down with you. Come on, Miss Ronda, let's do this and this that." But do they show up? And that's how you can tell who is who. Because
Yes,
I'm not gonna say what I can do, knowing that I can't do, just to sound good or to make you feel good.
and I will go ahead and expound. Respect is an action word, you know, and with respect, it literally allows you to trust the person because respect is action, you know. So all three of those, it's like a triangle, you know, and then you're completing things after that. So that's my point.
Brother, I have a question for you. You had a question for us. I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
Okay, absolutely.
So the question is, what will be the difference from groups who have gotten together and purchased land and created their own community, and people have infiltrated and have and their communities have failed? Like, what will be the difference with this community? Like, how can we protect our community from that happening?
Oh, that's a very good question. I like that. Okay, so I'm going to start here. We have to first look at the mistakes that was made and what those communities was actually targeted with, and omit those particular things. It's almost like saying, if we look, the whole purpose of knowing the past is so that we won't repeat the negative mistakes in our future or in our present. So let's say more specifically, if we know that certain people had certain issues. Now, I'm not directing this towards no specific person. I'm just, answering your questions based on looking at issues. Most times, Black leaders are targeted for specific types of acts that we have to actually be more disciplined not to get ourselves caught up in. We cannot actually control humans to the letter, so to speak. Like, I can't control every single thing you do, right? You can't control every single thing that I do, because there's going to be times that we're out of each other's eyesight and a person's natural nature is going to come out. If you have certain behaviors that are improper, then when you're behind closed doors, that's going to be activated. The only thing that we can do in that particular aspect is try to put ourselves in a position to whereas we can correct those things before it gets out of hand. For example, let's not even talk about a community. Let's just talk about countries. There's no country that exists on the planet that does not have crime. There is no country that exists on the planet that don't have people that fall out of line with the rules and regulations. But what has happened is the countries try the best of, to the best of their ability to put forth corrective measures so that the society evolves to be a better society. Now, with us being a small community, let's say we get a town, I think that it's going to be based on the way that we govern people not so much by the laws that we implement, but by the examples that we put forth, LBE, leading by example. If all of us are projecting ourselves with a certain level of standard and moral integrity, I think that becomes the code of conduct, that becomes the standard, that becomes the values. And so it's easier sometimes to correct people by already having the proper behavior, as opposed to do what I say and not what I do. I think that that's first. To answer your question a little bit further, I think that we can protect ourselves in various different ways from various different things. And I'll speak a little bit more specific because I know I'm coming across as vague. Let's say, for example, I think that certain things need to actually be implemented so that the children are safe. I think that certain things need to be implemented so that the women feel safe. And I think that certain things need to be implemented so that even the brothers not only feel safe, but they care enough to protect the women and children from those specific things. And I think that revolves around us allowing each individual person to truly have a say-so in the direction, that our community is going in, without internecine strife. Because I know that, the more heads that you have, the more diversity of opinions that you may have and perspectives that we may have. And I think that sometimes that leads to argument because people are so staunchly held by their own opinions and their viewpoint that they lack the ability to see a different side. And therefore, a lot of argument starts and nothing gets done. So I think putting the right people in the right positions, but I think that there are going to be mistakes that are made, just being human. And I think that we need to be the best at the resolutions of those mistakes to make sure that it doesn't get out of hand, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Another thing I think also is this. I don't really see a society right now at present that gives the women the voice and the platform to be able to exercise things that I believe in my heart, honestly, and I'm not saying this to stroke your ego, that will actually work, right? So one of the conversations that I have with most of the sisters is, a lot of people talk about the divine feminine, and I've said this probably about 45 minutes ago. They talk about, we're moving towards a matriarchal society. But I spoke about the problem where the sisters don't get along with the sisters, or don't communicate, I should say, with the sisters. But what about all those people that's saying that you see more men on the platform than women? So I decided that I was going to bring forth a platform to whereas you all have the floor. I decided that I was going to bring a class together to whereas you all can be the trained teachers, because in reality, you all are the teachers of all of the children in the beginning stages. At least you are the first teachers. The mother is definitely the first teacher. I think, and I'm not saying every woman, I'm not trying to bash anybody, but I don't think that every woman is qualified to lead just because that she is a woman, right? I don't think that every woman is qualified to have her opinion followed to the letter just because she's a woman, because some people are superficial. Some opinions are superficial. It's only based on the limited amount of knowledge that they have. And sometimes it's one-sided. I think that women who have the ability to assess both sides equally, or I should say with equilibrium, because it'll never be equal, and find favor in the most rightest way, if that's a word. You feel me? Like, what is the right way, irregardless of the way you feel about it, right? So, and sometimes that requires for you to shed your own opinions to see another side. And I think that the women that have those qualities are more qualified to lead than women who feel that just because it's them and it's coming from a woman that is right. That's almost just as chauvinistic, if not the same as a chauvinistic male. And I think that the promotion of that will bring forth harmony, because the women who are in that position will be so strong and protected by men like myself and the brothers that's coming behind me, that the men who think contrary, as well as the women who think contrary, won't even have a place in that type of society, because they won't thrive, because we're not going for it.
It depends on who's doing the critiquing of what's right and what's wrong. And we can't eliminate that. Who's doing the judging, and at what level?
Yeah.
The reason why you don't see a lot of women teaching is because the men has not allowed them to step up to the plate, because it's coming from the holy tablets. When the men decides to teach the woman, she teaches the nation. And that's why we're not seeing it. It's all coming from the ego of the men.
Yes, true. Yes, touching on that, what you said, Rhonda, women will always have their disagreement. That is what the divine feminine do. But we are, as to only women could know another woman. We alone could know each other. Men can't see underneath our emotion, which goes deeper than just looking on the surface. Given a chance, I think us as women could come together in a more profound way that a man could ever, as men. We could come once we have that attachment. Obviously, we have our nature and we reserve in some way. But as women, when we do get together, I think you can't find anyone more loyal than us.
Exactly. And see, some men
are not loyal to us. We can't depend on men to be loyal to us.
And
as I said, they can be husbands or president, but no one knows what loyalty is to that degree, except for us as feminine. And he's not going to be sailing, because it's a lot of hard work we're going to have to put to get to the level where we're not bitching on each other. But all we're saying, everyone's different, so you're not going to get all women in that category.
Then
it's about like-minded,
Right. And it all depends. The one thing I noticed, because I'm the oldest in this group out of all of you all right now, the one thing I notice about the male ego, they cannot accept strong women. And they will not, they can't accept the strength of a woman. So they judge you on every little thing. So if I'm not speaking, if I'm not giving a message that they want to hear, it can be right, sound reasoning. By me being an older woman, you see what I'm saying? My message or my delivery might not be off. So that right there automatically casts me out. You see what I'm saying? As well, the younger woman can say the same thing that's in his age group. He will accept. You see what
I do partially agree with that to a certain extent, but let me try to just give a different viewpoint so that we can reason a little bit more holistically. I think that no matter whether it's from and y'all tell me yes or no whether y'all disagree with this. I think no matter whether it's coming from a male or whether it is coming from a female, I think that approach means everything. If the way that a person speaks, right? Let's say if I spoke in a certain kind of way, right, as a male, or you spoke in a certain kind of way, or any female spoke in a certain kind of way, if that is depicted as being condescending to the listener, it's not going to resonate. And I think a lot of times we're not careful with our delivery when we're trying to convey a message. It's almost like saying, don't listen to how I'm saying it, listen to what I'm saying. But humans have feelings, be it male or female, right? So with that being said, I'm very careful not to offend. I'm very careful not to say something contrary, that even if I have a differing opinion, that it doesn't devalue your opinion, but it lets you know that I may take a different stance, and that's okay, because it's okay sometimes to agree to disagree. But I think that from that perspective, I think that when it's not a male thing, I think that is a people thing. When not you specifically, Ms. Ron, I'm just saying, because I'm listening and I've been in conversations like that. If the person's delivery is not geared toward making sure that they take into context a person's feelings when they're delivering the message, it really doesn't matter how true the message is. The listener stops listening automatically. Does anybody disagree?
So what comes into play? That's your ego.
That's not.
I mean, yes, it is.
Okay. Just listen for one moment.
Okay.
If Taya and I was, I'm just gonna pick you real quick, Taya. If Taya and I was having a conversation, and I spoke to her in a manner that rubbed her wrong, that's not her ego, right? That's her feelings. Ego is self-arrogating, stating that I know this, you don't. I know more. That's not what's happening. What's happening is a message is being conveyed with a delivery that does not substantiate the how you say, the feelings of the person that they're actually conveying the message to. And that is not a true leader or a teacher, because it doesn't matter if the message is true or not. If you're hurting somebody's feelings, that's not ego.
It still comes from the ego. A feeling, that's emotion, because it does not change the fact of what people is saying. It's just like if I was to tell one of my kids, go get that trash like I told you and take it out, opposed to, could you go and take the trash out? So the way I said it.
Going with it. Go ahead. I like where you're going with it. Go ahead. Finish that, sister. Finish that.
Why you like what that? Don't try to set
I
me
like
up.
it too. I like it too.
You know why I like that? Because that validates my point. As leaders, I'm just talking about the leaders, or those who are self-appointed or ordained or whatever. As leaders, to be a true leader, we must take into account our audiences. I don't care if it's the individual standing in front of you or the whole group standing in front of you. We must, out of respect, because this goes back to respect, take into account a person's feelings when we're saying things. We have to. Otherwise, people are going to be offended, and then there's going to be, now it's something wrong with the person, the listener, but it's not. It's something wrong with the person that's conveying the message, truly.
Yes, everyone's different in regards to feelings, and if you know a person, you know that your limit with them, and that's just basic common sense. Everyone's not going to. Some people gonna things that people are gonna take serious. Other people are gonna not think much of it because some people got better sense of humor than others. Some people have no humor. So
that's
it depends
true.
on the individual thing. No, I'm not
appointing
anyone. I'm just
it's
saying
very
everyone's
true.
different. And once you know a person, you know their limit, and that's basically about respecting each other. Treating each other like how you'd like to be treated, and it goes without saying because it's just basic common sense. But one thing I do would say, this would work, this land business thing, but we need a feminine space for ourselves, because the way men see things and the way women see it, I've got to say, because I'm married, I've been married for nearly 40 years, so I know the difference between, sometimes I just need my space from my husband, full stop. So everyone's going to be different, I just need a lot because sometimes, as I said, women are going to need their space. And based on Dr. York's teaching, on his level of high level and how he conducted I would say that if it's going to go according to Dr. York principle, it's going to work out. That's all I can say. It's going to work, but it's not without hard work.
Exactly.
It's not going to be without the hiccups, but you have to the women has to have their feminine space so that they can recover from what is, from anything else that might come their way. They'll be able to cope better if they have space and their own space for their own teaching and for their children and teaching the children. But it's going to work, but it's going to have to be planned on a heavy schedule.
Exactly.
As well as, I must reiterate this and add this, as well as the people who are in the position of guiding people or teaching people or leading people, we have to, and I'm big on this, we have to be able to speak in a way that resonates with people, that gives them positive feelings. Now, there are times, this is paradoxically speaking now, there are times when we must be stern. But in most cases, if I came at you all and I spoke condescending, you wouldn't feel like your egos was being involved. You would feel like I was being disrespectful, correct? I've never spoken to anybody in a way that took away from the way that I wanted them to feel at the end of the conversation, because we have to ask, because being right is not always good all the time, because just because you're right, being right does not always achieve the goal. Being right does not always get the message across, right? Sometimes I know I have to be, that's correct, right? Okay, so being right does not always, because that to me is a person who have a mentality that's more domineering and on a power trip. And I'll explain. If every time I said something and I based it on the facts, right, and I was right, but it didn't, but that fact or truth did not resonate with the person emotionally that I was actually speaking to, it still does us no good, because they won't receive the message. And people talk about rational. We also have to deal with emotional. There has to be a holistic communication to each individual or each or whatever group or tribe that we're a part of when we're in these positions, speaking to people, that allows people to think and feel correctly. And I think that is the way that we pick and choose who we put in the positions of leadership. Because if 5 people leave because they don't like the way a person is talking to them, I find that to be the messenger's problem, not the listener. That's just my personal perspective now.
That's what
I was trying to do.
What I'm saying is, it's about the intention of whether that was meant. Sometimes it's not even meant, or that person not seeing it from the other person's perspective, and you won't know unless you speak about it and air out your feelings. It's all about being adult and airing out your feelings. Something that people might think is intentional, it might not even be intentional. So you've got to look at it from various other, point of view and perspective.
So before I add my perspective, I have a question. When you're speaking, are you speaking about the people on the land in the community, how you would, or are you speaking in general as a whole? Because
it's just about the hiccups that might be about the different personality. That's what I'm speaking about, not any individual,
Because the perspective that I'm getting is like us interacting with each other on the land, right? So I have a little bit of background in Islam. Small background in Islam. And when you come to a disagreement, you are to refer to the teachings, to the scriptures, right? So like if we have a disagreement on the land and nobody could come to an agreement, shouldn't we refer to the scriptures to fix
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll let Naya answer that.
Yes, we should. Yes, we should.
It goes back into the ego as well. I agree with you.
Exactly.
But it goes from the ego, because if you can't understand the message, just like what she just stated, if you can't Jordan, cut that down, girl. If you can't understand the mess, well, first you got to come from a point of understanding to even get to understanding. If you're allowing your emotions to interfere with you understanding the message, that will still coincide with the with the ego, right?
Exactly.
Yes,
You're
I agree.
absolutely right.
Just like what Tanya stated, you go back to it doesn't matter, because even if you don't say it in an aggressive way, even if you say it and that person disagree, they still would say, well, I don't like your message because of what you said. It's not how you said it, it's because of what you said, because they disagree. You're coming from the ego, which is going to stem from emotions. It's the same
Exactly.
thing.
It's the same thing.
Malachi, the teacher, he was very stern. He didn't give a damn what he said. This is the facts. Just like Tanya said, this is the facts. So you can't necessarily say it's the messenger's fault. No, it can be the listener.
It's the one receiving the message.
Can I also add something? Isn't that the importance of learning the language because now we know the difference of what it is to command somebody and what it is to speak to them in a gentle tone? Because like English and these different languages, we can kind of get caught up in the way we like voice our opinion. So I think that learning the language can help with our communication skills and how we like talk to each other.
you know what? People judge you on your tone. They don't, you know what? In the Holy Tablets, he said sometimes the teacher would get a little upset, but that still doesn't rule out the message. If you know what, I'm 62 years old, and if I critique people on how they give me facts, truth, I wouldn't have learned nothing. I had some teachers when I was in school that was their delivery wasn't that good, but I damn sure learned from them. So you know, it's all in how a person. It's all about feelings these days. You know what I'm saying? And we miss truth. We miss the message because I don't feel like you said it the way. Well, hey, I'm in a, you know, receive the message. That's what you should be getting.
I think we need some balance because I think we need a little bit of balance with that because I think there is a such thing as emotional intelligence. And yeah, so like you like sometimes I'm not bugging out. Is your delivery of your message. Like you need to tone it down a bit, you know, like I do have feelings aside from my intellect, you know, like I don't want to separate the two. I just want to have balance.
Okay, check this out. Check this out.
Let me just say this real quick, Miss Rhonda. With that thought alone, I'm going to start practicing talking to people in whatever tone I so choose, so long as it's the facts. And watch how many people leave this group. We cannot.
But they're gonna be coming from a point of understanding. What's the point of us teaching the scrolls and it's facts? That's the point. That's what I say.
Okay, let's go to the master teacher with this. Let's just go to Pops with this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
Let's just go to the master teacher with this.
Can we move on from that conversation? It's making me a bit dizzy.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say.
I like your tone, by the way, brother. I like your tone. So keep up the good work.
Yeah, like me, I just feel like because now it's now a thing to where we have to now define what respectful from disrespectful is. So I'm not going to take that approach. If someone else decides to take that approach, that's fine. I'm not going to take that approach because I doubt that I would have one person standing next to me if I took that approach. So I'm definitely
Naya.
I'm listening.
Do you know, listen, and I think we should go ahead and just keep it 100. This conversation is going between you and I, okay? When we first started, and I want everybody to hear what I'm saying. So I want to be transparent as I can. When Naya and I would conversate on certain things, like I told Naya that I was very big on structure. I cannot start anything unless it's planned out, okay? As his mentor, which he appointed me to be his mentor. I did not want to be nobody's mentor, but I accepted the challenge, okay? Now, the first thing how our conversation went was the language. I felt that the language was important, but I also felt that the doctrine both have to work together, because if we're going to give respect to Dr. Malachi Z. York, his way of getting the people was the doctrine. And that's how I started with my children. It was not the language, it was the doctrine itself. Mm-hmm. And they was very young, and they're raising their children the same way. Naya and I had a disagreement. He thought it would solely be the language. He did not consider the doctrine at all until he went to his male mentor. And they both decided that I was wrong. Am I correct, Naya?
Absolutely.
And then, so that kind of offended me, Because if you know, both of you got two males against one old woman. And now here we are right now to move this story right along. We are doing the doctrine. So, you know, if you want to say that I was in my feelings, of course. Did it cause confusion in our relationship? Of course. Because if you're going to have me as a mentor, but then you're going to go and get other people's opinion, yeah, that did put me in my feelings. And I did get upset. There's certain things that, you know, I won't even go into. And I just want to keep it 100. Because after you lay out a platform for a person, and it could be right and exact, and that's what I do. I'm very structured, and my kids know that. I'm not going to start you in the middle of anything, because that's not how we learn. We're going to start from the beginning. Even the planning of building this community, it has to be structured. It has to be written down. It has to consider all angles, how much money. The first thing is the money, the building of the land, the type of people you're going to have. Everything has to be structured. So when I see that's not being implemented, then yeah, I'm gonna raise my voice. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I'm being ignored. You know, so my delivery might be off, but you know, that's where this conversation.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, and I do agree. It needs to be structured because you have to realize men and women are different. They're gonna have different ideas, you know, of how things are run.
But like,
and you know, it has to be acknowledged that we're gonna have our differences as the different genders.
Because
I don't really think that I mean, just my opinion, I'm not telling you how you should feel, but to make you feel better, I'm attracted to the language before the scripture because I've been through many different scriptures. So I'm learning that each time I learn a different, there is something that's wrong about it. You know, like it's wrong scripture. You shouldn't learn this. Now I have to cancel that journey and I have to start on a new journey. So now I'm looking more of something that resonates with me, that's going to provide a togetherness, like to provide a family, to provide something that's like high vibrational and something that can like really unify me, whether or not I like the scripture. And if I didn't like the scripture, I'm still unified by the language. So for me, first is the language, and then it is the scripture, because it's going to help me to learn the scripture and it's going to help with me to absorb that information. So for everybody is different. Like for you, maybe it was the scripture first and then the language, but like I don't think like it's like more of a personal issue or like attack or like
neither of you. The thing is, neither of you are wrong. You both got your different ideas, and what Naya did wasn't wrong either. He was just torn in between, so he wanted another opinion. There's nothing wrong with that, Rhonda. But you know, as I say,
you all are missing the point. You all are missing the point.
No, I'm not on taking anyone's side, but I'm just telling you from my point of view, which is neither side, neither wrong or right. I just think it's neither you're wrong or right.
The live is about to be over. We reached the end of the live. I'm sorry, sisters. I'm sorry. We've reached the end of the lives. So we're gonna have to do a part 2. I didn't want to cut y'all off, but we reached the end of the live. It's 8:00. But we're definitely going to do a part 2. I'm going to reach back out to everybody to see when is the next time. One of the sisters, I want to say Jazzy, posed that we do a discussion panel at least once a week when it's convenient for everybody. And I'll reach out to everybody in the sisters group to figure that part out. Taya, I'm definitely going to reach out to you for the schedule so I can see like how we're going to do the classes. Even if I have to do private classes, that's fine, because we do want you to learn. And it is important that you kind of sort of get caught up with the language. So with that being said, sisters, I really appreciate y'all. Love all y'all. I hope that
Wanda,
everybody.
you can text me on Facebook. Wanda.
Okay, I sure
Yeah,
will.
Gratitude, everybody.
anytime reach out.
Gratitude. Much
That's what we're here for.
gratitude.
Okay. So you can go ahead, Jazzy, in the live. I'll see y'all sisters later. I appreciate everybody for showing up. Y'all did awesome.
What do?
I do.
What do?
I do.